You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Matt O'Leary.
So much for a quiet day, Mitch. What is going on? Matt O'Leary alongside Mitch Anderson. So if you didn't know, Mitch and I were live for 2 hours waiting for something to go down. We got a Tony D'Angelo re-signing 1 year, 1.25. Ethan Bear comes in, some depth for the blue line, maybe an AHL guy. They sign backup goalie. And now actual relatively big move. Can we say Jonathan Drouin, big move?
Yeah, I think Jonathan Drouin is at least the name carries a lot of weight, right? Former, was it 5th overall pick?
3rd
of right. There's a lot of potential there, and I think is the main thing that we're going to come out of this with.
How is he still? I mean, he just turned 30, but I was going to say he played his age 29 season in Colorado this year. How is he still in his 20s? It feels like this is a name that we have talked about for a decade.
Yeah, because everyone will remember the drama in Tampa. He wanted to get there sooner, sent him to the AHL, and eventually moved up to the team as a 19-year-old. And then by the time he turned 21, they sent him to Montreal in the Mikhail Sergachev trade, which worked out fantastically for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Not so much for the Montreal Canadiens. No. Or not so much for Jonathan Drouin either.
Yeah, so I love that another French-Canadian name in here for Mitch to say over and over again, which is going to be great. Big year last year, only played 43 games, but 37 points. Mm-hmm. He misses a lot of time, Mitch. 58 in 2023, 34 games in 2022, and then there was COVID-shortened year, so I won't really count those ones, but 2 of the last 3 years has missed some pretty significant time, or 3 of the last 4, I guess.
There were injuries this year, but there were mental health issues beforehand, right? He took some time away from the game to deal with his mental health. Living and being a French Canadian in the melting pot that is Montreal was not great for him. And then going to a relatively obscure Colorado, with all due respect, Colorado, relatively obscure compared to Montreal. And now on the island where you live in relative obscurity. Outside of like going to UBS, you're probably not very well recognized around town. And especially if you're not a star, which I don't think, clearly based off the contract the Islanders gave him, they don't think he's going to be. They don't think he's going to come in here and be 3rd overall kind of potential. It's going to be, you're going to add to whatever else we're doing here.
No, this is another playmaker too, by the way. He's not someone who scores a bunch of goals. His career high in goals is 21.
From when he was 21.
I was gonna say it was a long time ago. It was in 2017. He's more of an assist guy. I would think best case scenario, you put him on a line not with Matthew Barzal, right? Because I feel like they're kind of redundant. No.
Well, here's the thing. Unless you say, Matthew, I want you to shoot more, because this guy still creates a lot off the rush. Like the microstats show his rush shot assists are 69th percentile in the NHL.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Like off the rush is pretty good. His skating speed isn't great. I think microstats here show 35th percentile for skating speed. I haven't looked at his NHL Edge card yet, so maybe not. But it might lead to putting Matthew Barzal down the middle.
I'm not sharing my screen to this. You're seeing absolutely nothing right now. God, it's been a long day, Mitch. Please forgive me here.
Oh, absolutely forgiven.
Okay.
Absolutely forgiven.
The micro stats you were talking about.
Yeah. So you see there's a lot of red, which isn't great. But I think what we're seeing here, he's not a independent player, and we're not going to be paying him as such, right? It's 2 years, $4 million AAV. He's going to be a complementary piece on a line. He's going to go on a line with someone else and help drive that person to success. Whether that's being on a line with Bo Horvat or Matthew Barzal remains to be seen, or both, I guess, but I don't think so.
I would be surprised if it's both. I think potentially a line with Anders Lee and Bo Horvat might make sense.
Yeah,
in that role. And I don't hate Jonathan Drouin, the player, and I think it's a fine value. I thought he would get over $5 million. Would have been my thought. It's short term, 2-year deal, $4 million AAV.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch, this is I think the Islanders, I've counted now 55 middle six forwards on this roster.
minimum. You might give or take one or two. Lots of middle six depth is what we've got. Which, hey, if this is a retooling year, that's gonna be able to translate to a lot of assets going into the trade deadline.
That's a fair point to bring up too. Is like potentially having trade assets with these guys either this year. Anders Lee, JG Peugeot sticks out there. Maybe the following year, Palmieri, Jonathan Drouin, because they're both on 2-year deals. I brought this up before we started recording. I think we have to mention it too, because the Islanders still have RFAs they need to take care of. Simon Holmstrom, Emil Heineman, Maxim Siplikov, Mark Gakholm. Including those four, there are 15 forwards right now. Barzal, Horvat, Lee, Peugeot, Palmieri, Drouin, Duclair, Engvall, Sezikis, Ritchie, McLean, Holmstrom, Heineman, Siplikov, Gakholm.
Yeah, and a few of those are going to go to the AHL. I mean, maybe Ritchie ends up there. Maybe Engvall ends up there. But still, now you're down to 13, which is a little bit more manageable. You've got one extra spot. But we know Emil Heineman's making the team. Like, Metzer Dash went out of his way to include him in the Noah Dobson trade. So he's playing. Who are the odd men out type of thing?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And then you have to factor in too how much cap space the Islanders have left after this move.
Yeah.
And what that means. It is come on, give me a second.
It was 12.9 on Puckpedia before. So it's going to be around like 8.9 type of thing now.
Yeah. That's going to go to all four of those guys.
You would imagine Heineman, just above league minimum type of thing, maybe a little bit more because of the potential, but didn't end the year right. Simon Holmstrom, Maxim Siplikov could get a couple $1 million at least, maybe 3 to 4 each, and that's it. There's your budget for next year.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way, unless they're going to move someone out, but I just don't know if there's really or there has been any indication that that's going to happen here.
It doesn't seem like it, because the one person who might have any interest is Jean-Gabriel Peugeot, and it really seems that teams aren't really, or the Islanders, I should say, aren't really keen on trading him. They haven't received an offer that has blown their socks off, and so they're not racing to make that trade either.
Yeah, definitely not racing to make that trade. I would say probably not, no.
Yeah, it keeps coming up on our Discord. PS, sign up to patreon.com/uptheturnpike to get in on our Discord. I see here from Riley said, I hope Hickey trucks him again.
Yes, that was a great moment from literally a decade ago. That was the 2015-16 season that happened.
Right. If you don't remember, Jonathan Drouin comes across the blue line and Thomas Hickey just runs through him, sends him into another stratosphere. Could have very well ended up being some of those concussion issues he had later on in his career after the hit. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I saw a couple other comments like, when are we going to have the Hickey Drouin tunnel talk?
Yeah, that's going to be something. Any thoughts on how this could potentially impact Anthony Duclair, as this is yet another middle six forward in the fold?
Yeah, I don't think that changes anything. Duclair still has 3 years left on his deal. And he just left the team after being called out for being shit by the coach. What team is signing up to get that? What team is going like, yeah, let me sign up the guy who's not playing for you because he was shit? Rightfully so. Like, the coach called him out and he wasn't playing well. Whether you agree or not with the language, which I don't, he being Patrick Roy was right to at least describe the play that Anthony Duclair was giving him in that way.
Definitely.
I just don't see a team wanting to bring that into the equation.
Yeah. I'm curious what this means as fallout for the rest of this roster with Anthony Duclair. With Jonathan Drouin added to the fold, and how that impacts guys like Anthony Duclair and others. Yeah,
open season on a lot of spots in the roster. It really does seem like going into training camp, I think there's going to be a few spots up for grabs, which is going to be interesting as all hell. It makes it a lot more fun. But I don't think it makes it fun in terms of like, what kind of upside can we get? It's who are we playing? And then what does that mean for us in terms of, do we make the playoffs or not?
Competition season.
Probably not. Yeah, exactly. At least we'll have that going into camp.
That's definitely going to be something to watch. But thought Jonathan Drouin was a big enough name that we had to fire up the mics one more time. Especially with the cap space situation now and the RFAs, I don't expect to hear any other names. Do you, Mitch?
I only expect us to re-sign the guys we got. So maybe we come back on the mics because they've re-signed Simon Holmstrom and Maxim Siplikov, but that could be another couple of days too.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for us. Let us know what you think about the Jonathan Drouin signing in the comments down below. I'm Matt O'Leary. He is Mitch Anderson, and we'll catch you next time.